Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
For me again, you can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to cry. You can't for me again.
What fi go to eat no money, what fi at you, eat no at you. Covid money, miss away in the little rat you. Use the youth, them on them waste, must a man to statue. Say me like a catch you, but me got in a figure you. Take the skin from money, girl, and say that it's not you. One day the man above end up in my gutter. But too much it in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. My singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me,
300% raise.
it burn me,
Garbage pile of it.
it burn me,
Give the teacher them
it
raise.
burn me,
I see corruption face.
it burn me,
Mash down the people them house.
it burn me,
Every day appear arms out.
it burn me,
Appear money them a thief.
it burn me.
And them a sell out with each.
Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't for me again.
Come me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The urgent the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, them rap and they down in our fever. Member bold money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me,
On them treat the market man.
it burn me,
On them a treat the cat man.
it burn me,
On them treat the peanut man.
it burn me,
On them a treat the dirt man.
it burn me,
On them a treat the son man.
it burn me,
How them a treat policeman.
it burn me,
How them a treat soldier man.
it burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again.
Stevie dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the People's Point of View. Thank you for joining us this evening. Lovely to have your support, as always. To my community of Parity and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, via subscribers, commenters, and trolls. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us on the People's Point of View this evening. Real sweet, Marcia Thomas, Sharon Bernard, good evening, Debbie Jarvis TV, good evening. Good evening. Who else is here? Good evening and welcome, RJ. Good evening, Annie Jones, Gloria Morris, Canadian Gal, Christine Heitness. Good evening, Gloria Morris, Miranda Roddick, Sophia Hall. Good evening, Evan Bradford. Good evening, and welcome. Let me check out TikTok. Good evening to Panos, Bernard, Samuel. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Pink, good evening. The Pink Nation. Good evening and welcome. I'm going to look back this evening at the whole new social housing project and its upsy-daisies that comes with it as to do I Wayne Evans, Kate M. Because it is quite clear, Millicent Jones, if you look at the different brouhaha on the Prime Minister's stage when it comes to social housing, it seems as if the Prime Minister is using the social housing project as an election campaign tool, which I think is awfully wrong and immoral as to be using the public purse to advance your political campaign and your political narratives, Evan Riley. Now, if the government want to, during the election campaign, speak of their success in their social housing, Freddie Jackson, Debbie Duncan, by all means, but to be actually using the handing over of social housing as a political campaign tool, I think the Prime Minister is awfully immoral in such behavior that we will explore a bit more in the optics of the Prime Minister's Facebook page, Freddie Jackson, in a while. But there's an article in the Gleaner I want to read for you. I'll try to fumble my way through it. It's to do with the crime. I don't know if it's reduction, escalation, standstill, where the Prime Minister wanted to be. I don't know, but I will read the article for you. Because I won't be able to, when it comes to numbers, I'm not a person who deal with numbers. But true because saying all the time, bus conductor fatally stabbed in downtown Kingston, driver on the run. Wow. The Evelyn Weekend Class Among Education Intervention coming on the PMP. I do support the evening class, Galangin. It's something that used to be beneficial for a lot of us back in the 70s and 80s to go to extra class in the evenings and you can brush up. Simit Lawrence, how are you? Beat and teach Wagwan. I've been a Cody. You can brush up on your areas where you're lacking. But if you weren't on Drive Time London today, we started our big debate this evening on TikTok, on YouTube. I think it went well. If you were here, give us your feedback as to how it went. We have a few guests on TikTok. Debbie Jervis also joined us on YouTube. That's the direction that the Drive Time London program will take, as to having a panel in discussion to give so other people can give their opinion. The Gleaner article I want to mumble through for you, Renice Nicholson, is one titled Jamaica Record 28 Murder in 8 Days After February Let-Up. We're going to try rustle our way through it. We don't know a number in there, so please take on time with me. Let's start. Jamaica recorded 28 murders to start the month of March, according to the latest serious crime statistics published yesterday by the Jamaica Constabulary Force. This after a record-breaking February where only 47 murders were reported, the lowest monthly total since 2000. According to several cabinet ministers, including Minister of Education and Skills, Youth and Information Dana Morris Dixon and Dr. Harris Chang, the Minister of National Security. From January 1st to February 2020, to February 28, a total of 117 murders were recorded across the 19 police divisions. As at March 8, the murder total stood at 145, which was 50% fewer murders year on year. Fewer murders year on year. Don't know what that means. This represents a 26% reduction in murders. St. Andrews South 23, St. Catherine South 16, St. James 11, St. Catherine North 11, St. Andrews Central 10, and Westmoreland 10 are the divisions in double digits. According to the statistics, major crime including shooting, rape, and robbery are down 19%. However, break-ins have increased by 16%. Another crime statistic which Gleaner has been tracking, which is not published by the JCF in the weekly serious crime statistics, motor vehicles theft are recorded a very sharp increase rather. As at February 8th, there was a 92% increase in motor vehicle theft, with 115 such reports. At that point, 55 more cars were stolen year on year, compared with 60 reports of stolen vehicles in 2024. Crime is a talking point for both political parties headed into the upcoming general election, which is due in September. As recent as yesterday, Darrell Vance, Member of Parliament, Portland West, lamented the increase in crime in Portland, arguing that it is being fueled by outsiders who have sought rather to create mischief in the once peaceful parish. The Portland Police Division recorded 5 murders since the start of the year, a 150% increase when compared to 2 of the corresponding period in 2024. I'm very concerned and very upset in relation to the upsurge of crime in Portland. We are not accustomed by drive-by shootings, and we have had 2 in the last few days. We are not accustomed to that. We have been accustomed to being the safest parish for decades, and we have lost that position via stole supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party at an area council to leadership meeting on Sunday in Portland Western. St. Thomas has now the lowest homicide count with 4. Okay, that's the end of it. So St. Thomas has 4 homicide count with 4. So I wanted to read that for you because when it comes to crime statistics, I don't know if it's my disability understanding numbers. I never get my head around the zigzag, the ups and down of what they are explaining. But one thing we are certain of, whenever time a survey is done, it is a top concern for majority of Jamaicans. Crime and the fear of crime. But I don't know if it's an agenda or it is a reality to make sure we the people believe that crime is really down. Because the way it's been rammed down our throat on a day-to-day basis, the way it becomes a daily and weekly song and dance for the government, one have to ask the question, are we being pushed in that direction because it is favorable to the government's election agenda? Because it's been pushed very, very regular. As to why, I'm not quite certain. We can all assume the government want us to believe that there is a control on crime. I don't know if we're seeing or feeling the changes on the ground. I don't know either if it makes a difference to the people's opinion and crime, or I really don't know, but it has been pushed. Kerry, good evening and welcome. But don't forget, tomorrow, Paul Johnson, will be a big day in our political history in Jamaica. And remember, we told you, don't go anywhere. You must come here to sit down with us. Bring your quilt, bring your pillow, Bring your necklace, your popcorn, your coffee, your Pepsi, whatever you want to bring. But make sure we all watch the budget presentation tomorrow, because tomorrow will be a historic day in our country where, for the very first time, a budget presentation, Norman Ferguson, will be done by a female. The very first time a budget presentation would be done by a female. And it is important that we take note. The commentators there, as you know, there is a comparison with all of us in the media as to whether Favor can cross it in the way Nigel would fumble his way through the budget. But commentators are already telling us that we shouldn't compare Favor and Nigel. That is true. I will agree with that. But Favor performance does not give us confidence of her presentation. Given her lack of performance or all over the place, playing with papers in the Finance Standing Committee, I don't know what to judge from that. It could be that Favor could really surprise us with how she present her budget now that we are aware that whether you want to just say the country's in a recession or technically by the figures the country is in a recession, only after the budget presentation tomorrow we will be able to give her a proper assessment as to whether she has crossed it, as to whether she has delivered a budget that will move Jamaica forward in a better direction. We will only be able to judge that tomorrow after she makes her presentation. But it is quite much an anticipated presentation for the finance minister tomorrow. Andrew and the social housing. It is okay if the government, of course, the government will and government has always campaigned on their successes, whether you agree with the government or not, that is a success. Governments regularly campaign on them. Can Andrew Holness use the social housing project during his campaign to say, look how we have delivered or how much we have delivered? Absolutely. He can campaign on it. But what is not comfortable with what the Prime Minister is doing is using the social housing handover as an election campaign tool. That is not JLP machinery money. That money is the people of Jamaica's money, and thereby the Prime Minister ought not to be using the handover of a social house as a political campaign to send his political message to garner vote from that. That is actually campaigning on the tax dollars. That would be an unfair also advantage to the opposition for the Prime Minister to, outside of party campaign financing, to be using public money as a campaign tool, because it is how the Prime Minister is using the social housing handover. And that's awfully wrong and immoral, because taxpayers shouldn't be funding government campaign. And I wish the Prime Minister would refrain from doing so. But if you go onto the Prime Minister's Facebook page, which I'll try to take you to, the Prime Minister is playing a total of politics in how he posts these things on his Facebook page. And I'll explain to you what I mean. You saw there when the Prime Minister went down to Manchester, I think the end of last week, to do the handover of the houses. Caution, welcome. When the Prime Minister went to Manchester to do the handover of the houses, the Prime Minister handed over more than one house on that day. And the Prime Minister have those different houses that he handed over in standalone video on his page. Now, the other video that the disgraceful debacle went down, which I think that was an awful setup by the Prime Minister. If it wasn't, then the Prime Minister has lost control of his supporters in front of him, because at no point the Prime Minister sought to intervene in how his supporters were carrying on to the recipient of the social housing. But before I go to the Prime Minister page, let us remind you of what took place at that handover involving Miguel, is it Miguel Phillips, his name is? Let me bring this thing in for you.
What am I talking about? What are you talking about? Sir, should explain yourself. I've been naming up to yourself. I've been naming. You have been naming up. I'm saying you're being. I need to calm down. This is what you say. Sir, go back. What is?
It's okay, Mr. Young. Don't worry yourself. That's okay, Mr. Young. Let me go ahead.
What is this? Understand the politics?
Mr. Young, what's the issue between you and the Member of Parliament?
From my interpretation, the Member of Parliament seems intimidated and seems petty, as if he cannot stand my presence at a mere ribbon cutting. A ribbon cutting that the Jamaica Labour Party government has really working so hard with this whole program and has provided.
What's the issue between you and the caretaker? What was it about a while ago?
I have no issue.
He said that it's some political intimidation. What's your response?
There's no issue. He has no constitutional right to be a part of what we're doing here. He has brought politics into the handing over of a house for a beneficiary that is well in need. And my decision is that he cannot be a part of this process. He's not the elected representative. And he should do no time and place for everything. Don't get the politics mixed up into something like this.
Right, I'll play the other clip for you. Then I'll hold on. Bear with.
You can campaign to intimidate. It seems like one beating in the local government was not enough. So you come for a second. Right?
Somebody's inside the house.
So we did not expect today's activity in handing over a house to someone in need to become a campaign tool. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
In front of the Prime Minister, shower labor rights, no free handout is what really got me. The Prime Minister turned up with a flurry of people. But the Prime Minister turned up with the caretaker, the JLP caretaker for the constituency. Here is where the Prime Minister is using public resources as an election campaign, because he took Mr. Young, the JLP caretaker candidate, for Mr. Young to get the glory. Given that the Prime Minister told us it's an MP-driven program, you must come through your MP to be on the program. Therefore, the recipients were introduced by the MP. The Prime Minister have no right to take the caretaker of the Jamaica Labour Party, who is not an elected official. He's only a candidate to perform or to participate, rather, in a constitutional act or whatever that the government was carrying out, because otherwise we could take up any dictum and hurry and say, go and act on behalf of the government, when an elected member of parliament for the constituency is there. And this is where it's wholly morally wrong for the Prime Minister to be using public resources as his political campaign. But this lady on screen here, she received her house on the same day as well. It is in a standalone video on the Prime Minister's page. Where this was the one that he did with MP Chin on the same day as well. That's in a standalone video. Where on earth is it? This lady as well is in a standalone video. All of them, the Prime Minister is using them as his political campaign message. And it is terrible wrong because it's not the Jamaica Labour Party that is giving houses to Jamaicans. Jamaicans are getting houses which are taxpayer funded, not JLP funded. So the Prime Minister used
We begin this evening with news from the campaign trail. Members of the PNP and JLP continue to tell Jamaicans why they should form the next government. As you will hear in this report, crime and the state of the healthcare sector.
Oh, sorry, Debbie. This thing, I'm using a new, what do you call it? Some new settings that are in StreamYard. And sometimes I get the settings horrible wrong, where it knocked me out of the studio, depends on which scene I'm into. I hope you can hear me now because I'm back in stream. You can hear me now, can't you? Let me know, YouTube, if you can, or you can hear me now. Right, let me continue to play the video.
Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome to viewers on OneSpotMedia.com. We begin this evening with news from the campaign trail. Members of the PNP and JLP continue to tell Jamaicans why they should form the next government. As you will hear in this report, crime and the state of the healthcare sector were the hot topics in Portland on Sunday. Details in the two major political parties continue to crisscross through Jamaica in an attempt to rally their base ahead of the general election. Northwestern Clarendon was among the PNP stops. The seat is currently held by the JLP's Philip Enriquez. But the man who once held the seat, Richard Azan, is upbeat about a return to power in the constituency, carried by a wave that he feels will also bring about a change of government.
We are going to move to Jamaica House and make this quarter leave Jamaica House too. Because tonight, comrade, Kejabos inside here don't have one bank account and one man have 28.
But no such change in government will happen if these JLP members have their way. Darrell Vaz, while speaking at an area council meeting in Portland on Sunday, said he was proud of the work over the last few years to make the parish one of the strongest for the JLP at present.
See you run Portland. I thought I was Mr. Portland, but Action Ann is the real leader.
This government that I am a part of has not spent millions on road, you know. They have spent billions on road in East Portland. Never in the history of East Portland that we have had so many programs to fix road. We have the REACH program. We have the Spark that is coming. We have the patching program, and the South Coast Highway is coming all the way to St. Thomas, right to Portland.
Turning to other issues in Portland, Mr. Vaz said crime is threatening to take root in the parish. The parish has recorded 6 murders since the start of 2025.
I am very concerned and very upset in relation to the upsurge in crime in Portland. We are not accustomed to drive-by shootings, and we have had 2 in the last few days. We are not accustomed to that. We have been accustomed to being the safest parish for decades, and we have lost that position.
He said it is critical that some bad apples that have set up shop in Portland recently be removed.
And I'm calling on the police high command tonight and the Minister of National Security. Flush them out and flush them out quick, no matter who they are or who they represent. We are not going to tolerate it. And I can tell you that I will be on it from now until we restore Portland to its original state of peace and safety.
The PNP's candidate for Eastern Portland, Isaac Buchanan, and several other members of the PNP also met at a political event in Portland on Sunday. They continued to put forward their plans for the people, including in the health sector, that they say is falling apart.
We have had discussions and we know that there are going to be some laws that are going to be needed to be passed immediately in order to reform healthcare. Drugs must be cheaper. You cannot choose between your light bill and your pharmacy bill and think that everything is going to be all right.
That's your roundup of the happenings and what I want to remind you of is tomorrow's timing. I can see on the JIS they have set their opening of the 2025-2026 budget presentation with Miss Williams. So that will be about what, 1 o'clock Jamaica time tomorrow, because it's set for 7 p.m. UK time. So that will be an hour after our drive time London. So we will start our drive time London at our usual time. People can join the conversation, and that will lead us straight into the budget presentation. So we'll be putting out our broadcast shortly as soon as this live is finished. So make sure you register yourself and sit down for Favel's presentation tomorrow. So as soon as I'm finished in the next half an hour, About half an hour after this program finishes, your link for the budget debate will be published so you can mark yourself present. But on the issue of the social housing overall, the nation still requires clarity, because from the utterance given by Desmond McKenzie, which we then realized that poor people's land were being ripped from under their feet with the arrangement run by Desmond McKenzie and the Indigent Social Housing Project. And then when the Prime Minister later explained his project in his anger and fury, he also let us know that he built concrete structure on leased land, which is not something legal to do. So this is why we require clarity on how these programs are run. We are aware that the government has altered the criteria or make a reduction of the criteria on the website as it's to do with the land ownership criteria. That still does not provide us with the clarity that we deserve as to how the programs are being run, and if beneficiaries on either of the program are losing their land or at risk of losing their land, because the Minister of Local Government told us in the past we have people who've died and we take possession of the property and hand it over to somebody else. Now, where clarity is needed in that area is to whether the person who died, who their land, who the property was taken and given to somebody else, was that those property built on government land or on the person's land, as the Minister of Local Government explains that that is the criteria. So we still require clarity on that very issue, because the government, Dons, how are you? The government, ever since we found out the blunder, the government would want to tell us that we're lying. It's propaganda of the other party or such like and such a forth. But what we are actually questioning on is the government's argument. It's the argument that was put forward by the Prime Minister. It is also the argument that was put forward by the Minister of Local Government. So we still need clarity on those issues. Alrighty? And remember, tomorrow, join us for another debate. Yes, we're going to come on in the morning, but we're not going to stay long because we're going to make ourselves prepared and ready and comfortable for Jamaica's most historic budget presentation tomorrow, as it is the first time a budget presentation is being done by a female. Quite a historic one, but if it bear fruits, we can only tell tomorrow. So make sure you join us tomorrow for our programs. Promise, thanks for the follow, where we will make sure we be following up on the budget presentation. Thank you all very much for being here this evening. Lovely to have your support. As always, it's going to be a spectacle. Well prepared to cry hard. Murdo, when I don't make the job there, they say prepare to cry or laugh. I don't know which one may I come for the missus, if may I come Mrs. or master, I mean, if may I come prepared to cry, shout, laugh, drop down, or sit down, dumbstruck. But whichever one go, we just follow the duppy chalk. We will follow the duppy chalk tomorrow as it goes along, but it doesn't make for good promise. Will it make good television tomorrow? Only time will tell. Thank you all very much for being here tonight on the Global Television Group. Join us right back here tomorrow for the big historic day and the big debate about our budget presentation and the anticipation of whether the minister will go into a car crash or the minister will mount the hill victoriously. Thank you very much. Good night from Global TV. Yes, I'm going live for the budget, Catherine. So all of my globalists come here tomorrow so we watch the budget tomorrow and whether Favel cross it or she dies under it. Thank you and good night.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.